In this video, we embark on a chilling adventure set against the haunting backdrop of McAllister, Montana. Travis Burke, an avid hiker with a passion for exploring the great outdoors, sets out on what begins as a routine trek through the rugged terrain of this picturesque region. With the sun shining and the crisp mountain air invigorating their spirit, they are eager to immerse themselves in the beauty of nature. However, as he ventures deeper into the wilderness, the atmosphere shifts, and an unsettling feeling begins to creep in. The tranquility of the landscape is soon overshadowed by an inexplicable sense of foreboding. As Travis navigates the winding trails, he stumbles upon an unexpected discovery that will change the course of his adventure. This eerie find, shrouded in mystery, sets the stage for a series of spine-tingling events that will leave viewers on the edge of their seats. The tone of the video is intentionally suspenseful, drawing the audience into a world where the line between reality and the supernatural blurs. With each step taken, the tension builds, and the viewer is invited to join Travis in unraveling the chilling secrets hidden within the shadows of McAllister. As the story unfolds, the eerie occurrences intensify, captivating the audience's imagination and igniting their curiosity about what lies ahead. Prepare to be enthralled by the unsettling twists and turns that await, as we delve into a narrative filled with suspense and intrigue, where every rustle in the underbrush and every whisper of the wind hints at the unknown. This is not just a hike, it's a journey into the heart of fear itself, and you won't want to miss a moment of the chilling revelations that await. In the heart of McAllister, Montana, Travis has cultivated a life deeply intertwined with the rugged beauty of the surrounding landscape. Growing up in this small yet vibrant town, he has developed a long-standing connection to the area, one that is steeped in memories of childhood adventures and the serene solace that nature provides. The towering mountains and sprawling forests have always been more than just a backdrop. They are a sanctuary where Travis finds peace and clarity amidst the chaos of daily life. This bond with the land is not merely geographical, it is emotional, rooted in countless hikes that have shaped his understanding of the world and himself. Every morning, as the sun begins to rise over the horizon, casting a golden hue across the landscape, Travis embarks on a routine that reflects his love for the outdoors. After a quick breakfast, he laces up his hiking boots, ready to embrace the day. Hiking is not just a hobby for him, it is a vital form of relaxation, a way to escape the pressures of work and the demands of modern life. The trails around McAllister offer a perfect refuge, allowing him to disconnect from the noise and reconnect with his inner self. Each hike is an opportunity to explore new paths, breathe in the fresh mountain air, and immerse himself in the tranquility that only nature can provide. The rhythmic crunch of gravel underfoot and the rustle of leaves in the breeze serve as a soothing soundtrack to his thoughts, helping to clear his mind and rejuvenate his spirit. In addition to his love for hiking, Travis balances his outdoor adventures with a steady job at the local post office, where he has worked for several years. This position provides him with a sense of stability and community, as he interacts with familiar faces and contributes to the local economy. While the job can be demanding, requiring long hours and the occasional stressful day, it also offers a sense of purpose. He takes pride in helping customers find what they need and ensuring that the post office runs smoothly. The camaraderie among co-workers fosters a supportive environment, making the daily grind more bearable. However, after a long shift, the call of the mountains is often too strong to resist. The contrast between the bustling store and the serene trails is stark, and it is this juxtaposition that fuels his desire to escape into the wilderness. As the work week progresses, Travis eagerly anticipates the weekends, which are reserved for hiking excursions. These outings are not just a way to unwind. They are a cherished ritual that allows him to explore the breathtaking landscapes that surround McAllister. Whether it's a challenging ascent to a mountain peak or a leisurely stroll along a tranquil riverbank, each hike offers a unique experience that enriches his life. The thrill of discovering hidden gems, like a secluded waterfall or a panoramic viewpoint, adds an element of adventure that keeps him coming back for more. With every step taken on the trails, he feels a deeper connection to the land, as if the very essence of Montana is woven into their being. The significance of these hikes extends beyond mere recreation. They serve as a form of meditation, a way to process the complexities of life. In the solitude of the mountains, Travis reflects on his experiences, dreams, and aspirations. The challenges faced on the trails often mirror those encountered in everyday life, teaching resilience and perseverance. Each summit reached is a reminder that hard work pays off, while the moments of stillness allow for introspection and clarity. This relationship with nature is not just a pastime, it is a fundamental aspect of who he is. As the seasons change, so too does the landscape, offering new adventures and challenges. In the spring, wildflowers bloom, painting the trails with vibrant colors, while summer brings long days perfect for exploration. Autumn transforms the foliage into a breathtaking tapestry of reds and golds, and winter blankets the mountains in a serene layer of snow, inviting a different kind of adventure. Travis embraces each season, adapting their hiking routine to the unique beauty that each brings. This connection to the natural world is a source of inspiration, fueling their passion for life and reminding them of the importance of balance. In the midst of his busy life at the post office, the hikes serve as a vital escape, a reminder of the beauty that exists beyond the confines of work. He cherishes the moments spent in nature, where the worries of work fade away, replaced by the awe of the mountains and the serenity of the wilderness. This duality of life, between the hustle of retail and the tranquility of the trails, shapes his identity, creating a rich tapestry of experiences that define his existence in McAllister. As he laces up his boots and prepares for yet another adventure, the anticipation of what lies ahead fills him with excitement, knowing that each hike is not just a journey through the landscape, but a journey into the depths of their own soul. The day had started like any other for Travis at work, but as the hours dragged on, it quickly turned into a frustrating ordeal. It was unusually busy, with customers flooding in for last-minute things, and the demands of the job felt overwhelming. From the moment he clocked in, the ringing of the registers and the chatter of customers created a cacophony that made it difficult to focus. Travis found himself juggling multiple tasks, sorting mail, assisting customers, and managing the ever-growing line at the counter. Each interaction, while rewarding in its own right, added to the mounting pressure. By the time his shift was nearing its end, he felt drained, both physically and mentally. As he finally clocked out, a wave of relief washed over him. The thought of escaping the fluorescent lights and the hustle of the store was exhilarating. He longed for the solace of the trails, where the only sounds would be the rustling leaves and the distant calls of birds. The mountains beckoned, promising a reprieve from the chaos of retail life. With a quick change of clothes and a packed backpack, Travis set off toward their favorite hiking spot, eager to immerse himself in the tranquility of nature. However, the journey to the trailhead was not without its challenges. Traffic was heavier than usual, and the frustration from the day lingered like a shadow. Each red light felt like an eternity, and the anticipation of reaching the mountains only heightened his impatience. Finally, after what felt like an endless drive, he arrived at the trailhead, the familiar sight of towering trees and rugged paths igniting a spark of excitement. With a deep breath, he stepped out of the car, ready to leave the stress of the day behind. As he began his hike, the fresh air filled his lungs, and the beauty of the landscape enveloped him. The rhythmic crunch of gravel underfoot was a welcome sound, and with each step, the weight of the day began to lift. However, just as he was starting to relax, his phone buzzed in his pocket, a reminder of the world he was trying to escape. Distracted, he pulled it out to check the notification, but in a moment of clumsiness, the phone slipped from his grasp. Time seemed to slow as he watched it tumble to the ground, the screen cracking upon impact. Frustration surged anew, but before he could fully process the mishap, he instinctively bent down to retrieve it. In that split second, the ground beneath him shifted unexpectedly. His foot caught on an uneven rock, and he stumbled forward, losing his balance. The world tilted as he fell, and in a chaotic flurry, he tumbled down a small slope, landing with a thud in a patch of soft earth. Dazed but unharmed, Travis took a moment to gather himself, brushing off the dirt and assessing the situation. As he looked around, he realized he had landed in an area he had never explored before, surrounded by dense underbrush and towering trees. It was then that he noticed something peculiar, a faint outline of a structure partially obscured by foliage. Curiosity piqued. He pushed through the undergrowth, heart racing with a mix of excitement and trepidation. As he drew closer, the outline became clearer, revealing a weathered wooden trapdoor set into the ground. The door was adorned with rusted metal hinges, and the wood was worn and splintered, suggesting it had been there for quite some time. A sense of intrigue washed over him. What could lie beneath this mysterious entrance? Kneeling down, Travis examined the trapdoor more closely. The air around it felt different, charged with an energy that sent shivers down his spine. He could see that the door was slightly ajar, as if inviting him to explore the secrets hidden below. The thought of what might be down there, forgotten relics, hidden passages, or perhaps something even more enigmatic, filled his mind with possibilities. The frustration of the day faded into the background, replaced by a thrill of adventure that ignited his spirit. With a deep breath, he reached out and grasped the edge of the trapdoor, feeling the rough texture of the wood beneath their fingers. The hinges creaked as they pulled it open, revealing a dark void below. The faint scent of damp earth wafted up, mingling with the crisp mountain air. A rush of adrenaline coursed through them. This was the escape they had been seeking, a chance to uncover something extraordinary. The world above, with its mundane worries and frustrations, felt distant now, overshadowed by the allure of the unknown. Peering into the darkness, Travis felt a mix of fear and excitement. What lay beneath the surface? Would he find something that would change his life forever, or would it lead him into danger? The questions raced through his mind, but the pull of curiosity was too strong to resist. With one last glance at the serene landscape above, he took a deep breath and prepared to descend into the depths below, ready to embrace whatever awaited him in the shadows. As Travis cautiously descended through the trapdoor, a wave of anticipation washed over him. The rickety wooden ladder creaked underfoot, each step echoing in the stillness of the underground space. The dim light from his phone illuminated the narrow shaft, casting long shadows that danced along the walls. As they reached the bottom, his heart raced with a mix of excitement and trepidation. He stepped onto a cold, concrete floor, and the air felt heavy, thick with the scent of dampness and age. Looking around, he was struck by the sheer size of the underground facility. It was vast, stretching out before him like a forgotten world, untouched by time. The walls were lined with faded, peeling paint, and the ceiling loomed high above, supported by rusted metal beams that seemed to groan under the weight of years gone by. The space was eerily quiet, the only sound being the faint hum of machinery that had long since fallen silent. It was as if he had stepped into a time capsule, a relic of a bygone era waiting to be rediscovered. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, the retro decor of the facility came into focus. The walls were adorned with outdated posters and advertisements from the early 70s, showcasing products and technologies that had long since faded into obscurity. Bright colors and bold graphics clashed with the dullness of the surroundings, creating an odd juxtaposition that felt both nostalgic and unsettling. A large mural depicting a utopian vision of the future hung on one wall, its vibrant hues now dulled by dust and neglect. It was a stark reminder of the hopes and dreams of a generation that had once believed in progress, now left to decay in the shadows. The technology scattered throughout the facility was equally fascinating and disconcerting. Old computer terminals with bulky monitors and clunky keyboards sat idle, their screens dark and lifeless. Wires snaked across the floor like dormant serpents, and the remnants of outdated machinery loomed in the corners, their purpose long forgotten. A sense of history enveloped the space, whispering stories of the people who had once worked here, their laughter and conversations now replaced by an oppressive silence. It was a world frozen in time, a place that had been abandoned yet still held echoes of its past. As Travis ventured deeper into the facility, the atmosphere grew increasingly eerie. The air felt cooler, and a chill crept down his spine, as if the very walls were watching him. Shadows flickered in the corners of his vision, and the silence was punctuated only by the occasional drip of water from a leaky pipe. The isolation was palpable, a reminder that they were far from the safety of the outside world. Each step felt like a journey into the unknown, and the thrill of discovery was tinged with an unsettling sense of vulnerability. He wandered through a series of interconnected rooms, each one revealing more remnants of the past. A break room, complete with a faded vinyl couch and a coffee machine that had long since stopped brewing, stood as a testament to the lives once lived here. The walls were adorned with photographs of smiling employees, their faces frozen in time, unaware of the fate that awaited their workplace. It was a haunting reminder of the human element that had once filled this space, now replaced by an overwhelming sense of abandonment. In one corner, a large control room dominated the area, its walls lined with panels of blinking lights and switches that had long since ceased to function. Dust covered the surfaces, and the air was thick with the weight of forgotten responsibilities. Travis felt a shiver run down his spine as he approached the control panel, the remnants of technology from an era that had once promised innovation and progress. The buttons, now yellowed with age, seemed to beckon them, inviting exploration yet warning of the dangers that might lie ahead. As he stood in the control room, the sense of isolation intensified. The vastness of the facility felt suffocating, and the silence was almost deafening. It was as if the walls were closing in, and the weight of history pressed heavily upon his shoulders. The flickering lights from the control panel cast an eerie glow, illuminating the dust motes that danced in the air like lost souls searching for a way out. Travis felt a mix of exhilaration and dread, caught between the thrill of discovery and the unsettling realization that he was utterly alone in this forgotten place. With each passing moment, the atmosphere grew thicker, charged with an energy that was both captivating and unnerving. The sense of isolation was palpable, and Travis couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, as if the very facility itself held secrets that were waiting to be uncovered. The thrill of exploration was tinged with an undercurrent of fear, a reminder that he had ventured into a realm where the past lingered like a ghost, and the unknown loomed just beyond the shadows. As he continued to explore, the realization dawned on him that this massive, unused facility was more than just a relic of the past. It was a labyrinth of memories, a place where time had stood still, and the echoes of those who had come before whispered through the halls. The retro decor and outdated technology painted a vivid picture of a time long gone, while the eerie atmosphere and sense of isolation heightened the stakes of their adventure. With every step deeper into the facility, Travis felt the weight of history pressing down, urging him to uncover the mysteries that lay hidden within the shadows. As Travis ventured deeper into the underground facility, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The air grew heavier, thick with an unsettling tension that seemed to pulse with each heartbeat. The dim light from his phone flickered, casting long shadows that danced along the walls, creating an illusion of movement where none existed. Yet, it was the sounds that truly unnerved them, the faint echoes of whispers that seemed to drift through the air, barely audible yet unmistakably present. It was as if the very walls were alive, murmuring secrets of the past, and the sensation sent chills racing down their spine. With each step, Travis felt an increasing sense of dread. The facility, once a relic of nostalgia, now felt like a labyrinth of horrors waiting to be uncovered. They wandered through a series of long, narrow corridors, each one lined with heavy metal doors, most of which were locked tight. The doors were rusted and worn, their surfaces marred by time, but Travis could sense that something sinister lay behind them. A gnawing curiosity compelled them to investigate further, despite the growing unease that settled in the pit of his stomach. As he approached the first locked chamber, a low, guttural sound emanated from within, sending a jolt of fear through his body. It was a sound unlike anything they had ever heard, an unsettling mix of growls and muffled cries that echoed off the walls, reverberating in his mind. Heart racing, he pressed his ear against the cold metal door, straining to listen. The noises intensified, a cacophony of despair that made his skin crawl. What could be trapped inside? The thought of grotesque creatures or tormented souls sent shivers down his spine, but the urge to know was overpowering. Moving on, he encountered another chamber, this one adorned with strange symbols etched into the metal. The air around it felt charged, as if something malevolent was lurking just beyond the door. Travis hesitated, his hand hovering over the handle, but the sounds from within, the series of sharp, frantic scratching, pulled him closer. It was as if something was trying to escape, desperate and frantic. The fear of what lay behind the door was palpable, yet the morbid curiosity compelled him to linger. He could almost feel the presence of whatever was trapped inside, a dark energy that seemed to seep through the cracks. As he continued his exploration, Travis stumbled upon a larger chamber, its door slightly ajar. A flickering light spilled out into the corridor, casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls. Taking a deep breath, they pushed the door open, revealing a room filled with grotesque sights that made their stomach churn. The walls were lined with glass cases, each containing disturbing specimens preserved in murky liquid. Some were familiar, animal parts and twisted forms, but others were unrecognizable. A nightmarish blend of flesh and machinery that defied explanation. The sight was enough to make their his race, and they felt a wave of nausea wash over him. In the center of the room stood a large table, covered in tools that glinted ominously in the dim light. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and Travis could feel the bile rising in his throat. It was a grotesque laboratory, a place where unspeakable experiments had taken place, and the realization of what had occurred here sent a chill through his bones. He could almost hear the echoes of past screams, the cries of those who had been subjected to unimaginable horrors. The weight of the facility's dark history pressed down on him, and he felt an overwhelming urge to flee. But as he turned to leave, a sudden noise froze them in place, a soft, shuffling sound coming from the shadows. Travis's heart raced as he strained to listen, the hairs on the back of their necks standing on end. It was a sound that sent a wave of primal fear coursing through his veins. He could feel the presence of something nearby, lurking just out of sight, and the instinct to run surged within him. Yet, he remained rooted to the spot, paralyzed by a mix of fear and curiosity. The shuffling grew louder, accompanied by a low, raspy breathing that echoed through the chamber. Panic surged as he realized he was not alone. The air felt charged with a malevolent energy, and Travis's instinct screamed at them to escape. He turned to flee, but the door slammed shut behind him with a deafening bang, trapping him inside. The sound reverberated through the room, and the flickering light overhead sputtered ominously, casting erratic shadows that seemed to come alive. In that moment of terror, Travis's mind raced. He could hear the shuffling drawing closer, the raspy breaths growing louder, and the realization hit him like a punch to the gut. He was in grave danger. The grotesque contents of the chamber, the whispers in the corridors, and the locked doors all pointed to a dark truth. He was not just exploring an abandoned facility. He had stumbled into a nightmare. The entities that lurked within these walls were not merely remnants of the past. He was very much alive, and he was hungry. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Travis frantically searched for a way out. He pounded on the door, shouting for help, but the only response was the chilling sound of laughter echoing from the shadows. It was a sound that sent ice through his veins, a mocking reminder of his vulnerability. The walls seemed to close in around him, and the air grew thick with despair. He could feel the presence of the entities drawing closer, their intentions unclear but undoubtedly sinister. In that moment of desperation, Travis realized he had to confront the darkness that surrounded him. He had come seeking adventure, but now he was faced with a terrifying reality. The grotesque sights and sounds of the facility were not just remnants of a forgotten past. They were a warning. With a surge of determination, he steeled himself for what lay ahead, ready to face the unknown and uncover the truth behind the disturbing entities that haunted the depths of the facility. The fight for survival had begun, and there was no turning back. Panic surged through Travis as he stood in the dimly lit chamber, the echoes of laughter still ringing in his ears. The door that had slammed shut felt like a prison, and the oppressive darkness seemed to close in around him. Heart racing, he turned to face the room, his mind racing with thoughts of escape. The grotesque specimens in the glass cases now felt like silent witnesses to his impending doom, and the low, Raspy breaths from the shadows reminded him that time was running out. With a surge of adrenaline, he pushed against the door, but it wouldn't budge. Desperation clawed at his throat as he frantically searched for another way out. The flickering light overhead cast erratic shadows, and the air was thick with a sense of foreboding. He had to move. He had to find an exit. With a final glance at the grotesque laboratory, he turned and sprinted toward the far end of the room, where a narrow corridor beckoned, shrouded in darkness. As he plunged into the hallway, the darkness enveloped him like a suffocating blanket. The only sound was the pounding of his heart, echoing in his ears as he navigated the twisting passages. The walls felt damp and cold beneath his fingertips, and the air was heavy with the scent of mildew and decay. Each step was a gamble, the uncertainty of what lay ahead heightening his anxiety. He could feel the presence of something lurking just beyond his line of sight, and the instinct to flee propelled him forward. Suddenly, a chilling sound pierced the silence, a low growl that reverberated through the corridor. Travis froze, his breath hitching in his throat. He turned slowly, peering into the darkness behind him, but saw nothing. The growl came again, closer this time, sending a jolt of fear through his body. He had to keep moving. With a burst of energy, he sprinted down the hallway, the sound of his footsteps echoing off the walls. As he rounded a corner, he nearly collided with a grotesque figure emerging from the shadows. It was a creature unlike anything he had ever seen. Its skin was mottled and stretched tight over a gaunt frame, and its eyes glowed with a malevolent hunger. The creature lunged, and Travis barely managed to dodge to the side, heart racing as he narrowly escaped its grasp. The adrenaline coursed through his veins, fueling his frantic flight as he pressed on, the sound of the creature's snarls echoing behind him. The hallways twisted and turned, each corner revealing more horrors. He stumbled upon another chamber, this one filled with strange machinery that hummed ominously. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows that danced across the walls, and Travis felt a momentary pang of curiosity before the urgency to escape took over. He glanced around, searching for any sign of an exit, but the room felt like a trap, the machinery looming like sentinels guarding the way out. With no time to waste, he turned back into the hallway, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The growls had intensified, and the sound of shuffling footsteps echoed ominously behind him. He could feel the creatures closing in, their presence palpable in the air. Panic surged anew, and Travis pushed himself to run faster, his legs burning with exertion. He had to find a way out before it was too late. As he navigated the dark hallways, the sense of isolation grew more pronounced. The oppressive silence was punctuated only by the sounds of his own frantic movements and the distant growls of the creatures that hunted him. Each corner he turned felt like a gamble, and the fear of encountering another horrifying entity loomed large. The walls seemed to close in around him, and the air grew thick with dread. He could feel the weight of the facility pressing down, as if it were alive and intent on trapping him within its depths. Suddenly, a door appeared at the end of the corridor, its surface battered and worn. Hope surged within him as he sprinted toward it, the sound of his footsteps echoing in the stillness. He reached for the handle, heart pounding in his chest, but as he pulled it open, a blinding light flooded the hallway, momentarily disorienting him. He stumbled back, shielding his eyes, and in that instant, he heard the unmistakable sound of claws scraping against the floor behind him. The creatures were closing in, and Travis felt a surge of panic. He had to get through that door. With a desperate push, he lunged forward, throwing himself into the blinding light. The moment he crossed the threshold, the door slammed shut behind him, sealing off the darkness and the horrors that lurked within. He found himself in a narrow stairwell, the light flickering overhead as he descended into the unknown. The sound of the creatures pounding against the door echoed behind him, a chilling reminder of the danger that still pursued him. He raced down the stairs, each step echoing in the confined space, his heart pounding in time with his frantic movements. The air felt cooler here, and the walls were damp, but there was no time to dwell on the discomfort. He had to escape. As he reached the bottom of the stairs, he found himself in another corridor, this one lined with more doors. Panic surged as he realized he had no idea which way to go. The growls from above were growing louder, and the sense of urgency propelled him forward. He tried the first door, but it was locked tight. The next door yielded the same result, and desperation clawed at his throat as he moved from door to door, each one a potential lifeline that slipped through his fingers. Finally, he reached a door at the end of the corridor that felt different. It was slightly ajar, and a sliver of light spilled out into the darkness. With no time to waste, he pushed it open and stumbled into a small room. The walls were lined with shelves filled with dusty supplies, and in the center stood a large window that overlooked the facility's exterior. Hope surged within him as he rushed to the window, but his heart sank as he realized it was sealed shut. The growls grew louder, and the sound of claws scraping against the floor echoed ominously in the hallway outside. He could feel the creatures closing in, his presence suffocating. Panic surged anew, and Travis frantically searched the room for another way out. He spotted a vent in the corner, its cover slightly ajar. Without a second thought, he rushed over, prying it open and squeezing through just as the door behind him burst open. The darkness of the vent enveloped him, and he crawled forward, heart racing as he heard the creatures enter the room. The sound of their growls echoed in the confined space, and Travis felt a surge of terror. He had to keep moving, had to escape the horrors that lurked just behind him. With every ounce of strength, he crawled through the vent, the metal scraping against his skin as he pushed forward, desperate to find freedom. The tension was palpable as he navigated the narrow passage, the sounds of the creatures fading into the distance. Each moment felt like an eternity, and the fear of being caught propelled him onward. He had to escape this nightmare, had to find a way back to the surface and the safety of the outside world. With determination fueling his every move, he crawled through the darkness, ready to confront whatever awaited him on the other side. As Travis crawled through the cramped vent, the oppressive darkness enveloped him, but the flickering memories of the grotesque sights and sounds from the facility lingered in his mind. He had narrowly escaped the horrors lurking in the shadows, but the question of what had transpired within these walls weighed heavily on his thoughts. The need for answers propelled him forward, and as he finally emerged from the vent into a dimly lit storage room, he spotted a stack of dusty documents piled haphazardly on a nearby table. With trembling hands, he approached the table, heart racing as he sifted through the yellowed papers. The first document that caught his eye was a faded blueprint of the facility, its intricate design revealing a sprawling network of interconnected chambers and corridors. As he studied the layout, a sense of unease settled in. The facility was far larger than he had initially realized. and the sheer scale of it hinted at a purpose that was anything but benign. Flipping through the pages, he stumbled upon a report titled Project Sentinel, Anti-Radiation Research and Development. The words leaped off the page, and Travis felt a chill run down his spine. The document detailed the origins of the facility, explaining that it had been constructed during a time of heightened global tension, when fears of nuclear warfare loomed large. The government had commissioned the facility as a top-secret research center, dedicated to developing advanced technologies to protect against the devastating effects of radiation exposure. As he read on, the implications of the experiments conducted within these walls became increasingly disturbing. The report outlined a series of anti-radiation experiments aimed at creating protective measures for military personnel and civilians alike. The scientists involved had been tasked with exploring various methods, including the development of specialized suits and treatments designed to shield the human body from radiation. However, as Travis delved deeper into the documents, it became clear that the experiments had taken a darker turn. The chilling realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. The facility was not merely a research center. It had become a site for unethical experimentation on human subjects. The reports detailed how the scientists had begun to push the boundaries of morality, conducting tests on unwilling participants in the name of progress. The document spoke of volunteers, but Travis could sense the underlying truth: these were not volunteers at all. They were victims, subjected to horrific procedures in the name of science. One particularly harrowing entry described a series of trials involving exposure to controlled doses of radiation, followed by the administration of experimental treatments. The results were grim. Many subjects suffered severe side effects, including grotesque mutations and psychological trauma. The reports hinted at a growing desperation among the researchers as they sought to achieve results at any cost. Travis felt a wave of nausea wash over him as he realized the extent of the horrors that had unfolded within these walls. As he continued to read, the documents revealed that the facility had been abandoned after a catastrophic incident. A containment breach had occurred during one of the experiments, leading to a mass evacuation and the subsequent sealing of the facility. The details were vague, but the implications were clear: something had gone horribly wrong, and the consequences had been dire. The facility had been left to decay, a haunting reminder of the dark legacy of its origins. Travis's heart raced as he pieced together the chilling narrative. The anti-radiation experiments had not only failed but had also unleashed something far more sinister. The grotesque creatures he had encountered were likely the result of these experiments, twisted remnants of humanity, forever altered by the very technology that was meant to protect them. The thought sent shivers down his spine, and he felt a surge of anger and sorrow for those who had suffered in silence within these walls. With a newfound sense of urgency, Travis realized he had to escape this nightmare. The facility was not just a relic of the past, it was a living testament to the horrors of unchecked ambition and the consequences of playing God. He could no longer ignore the danger that lurked within, nor could he allow the secrets of the facility to remain buried. The truth needed to be exposed, and he was determined to find a way out. As he gathered the documents, a sense of purpose ignited within him. He would not let the sacrifices of those who had come before be in vain. The chilling realization of what the facility had been designed for fueled his resolve, and he knew he had to confront the darkness that lay ahead. With the weight of the past heavy on his shoulders, he steeled himself for the journey back through the labyrinth of horrors, ready to face whatever awaited him in the shadows. The path to freedom was fraught with danger, but the knowledge he had gained would guide him. He would not only seek his own escape but also ensure that the truth of Project Harrow would not be forgotten. The facility's dark legacy would be brought to light, and the horrors of the past would serve as a warning for the future. With determination coursing through his veins, he set off into the darkness once more, ready to confront the chilling reality of what lay ahead. As he moved deeper through the facility finding a way out, the tension escalated. The growls of the creatures grew louder, echoing through the hallways like a haunting chorus. Travis's pulse quickened, and he felt the weight of his fear pressing down on him. He had to keep moving, to find an exit before it was too late. The obstacles seemed to multiply. Debris littered the floor, and the flickering lights cast eerie shadows that danced along the walls. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from behind them, and the Travis's heart dropped. The creatures had found his trail. Panic surged through him, and he sprinted down the corridor, the crowbar clutched tightly in their hand. The growls grew closer, a chilling reminder that he was being hunted. He could feel the heat of his breath on his neck, urging him to run faster. As he rounded a corner, Travis spotted a set of double doors at the end of the hallway. Hope surged within him, and he pushed himself to run faster, ignoring the burning in his legs. The sound of claws scraping against the floor echoed behind him, a terrifying reminder of the creatures closing in. He reached the doors, throwing them open with all his strength, and stumbled into a large room filled with machinery. The room was chaotic, with wires hanging from the ceiling and machines humming ominously. Travis's eyes darted around, searching for an exit. He spotted a door on the far side, but it was blocked by a tangle of equipment. Desperation clawed at him as he realized he had to clear a path. With the crowbar, he began to push aside the debris, adrenaline fueling their every movement. The growls grew louder, and Travis could feel the creatures closing in. He worked frantically, sweat pouring down their face as they cleared the way. Just as they managed to create a small opening, the door behind them burst open, and the grotesque forms of the creatures flooded into the room. Fear surged through him, and he knew he had to act fast. With a final push, he squeezed through the opening and bolted toward the exit. The creatures were right behind him, their snarls echoing in the confined space. Travis's heart raced as he reached the door, throwing it open and stumbling into the night. The cool air hit his face like a wave of relief, but he knew he wasn't safe yet. He sprinted into the darkness, the sounds of the facility fading behind him, but the memory of the horrors they had encountered would haunt him forever. The escape was just the beginning of a long journey towards safety, but he had survived the nightmare, at least for now. As he made his way through the dense woods surrounding the facility, Travis felt a sense of urgency to expose the truth. The world needed to know what had happened within those walls, the dark purpose that had driven the experiments, and the ethical dilemmas that had been ignored. He could not let the stories of the families fade into obscurity, nor could he allow the facility's legacy to continue unchallenged. Travis's resolve solidified as he navigated the underbrush, determination fueling his every step. He would find a way to bring the truth to light, to ensure that the sacrifices made by those families were not in vain. The horrors he had witnessed would serve as a catalyst for change, a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge must always be tempered by compassion and ethical responsibility. In the distance, the silhouette of the facility loomed behind him, a dark reminder of the past. But as he moved further away, Travis felt a sense of hope rising within him. He was not just a survivor of the horrors. He was now a bearer of truth, a voice for those who had been silenced. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he was ready to confront the darkness and shine a light on the facility's legacy. The world needed to know, and he would not rest until the truth was revealed. If you found this video captivating and thought-provoking, we invite you to subscribe to our channel for more content that delves into the unknown and explores the darker corners of human experience. By liking and sharing this video, you can help spread awareness of these important themes and encourage others to engage in meaningful discussions about the ethical implications of science and technology. Your support not only helps us grow but also fosters a community of curious minds eager to explore the mysteries of our world. Thank you for joining us on this chilling adventure. We hope you found it as compelling as we did, and we look forward to bringing you more stories that challenge our perceptions and ignite our imaginations. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember that the shadows often hold secrets waiting to be uncovered.